System malfunction detected. Warning. System failure.
Oh, my head.
System failure.
Oh.
Malfunction detected. Warning. System failure.
What time is it?
Malfunction detected. Warning.
Ugh.
System failure.
Cognition
Malfunction
critical.
detected.
Cognition low.
Malfunction detected. Oh, the cryotube must have failed. Gonna have to call out the repairman. Well, that sucks. Alright, well, it is currently day 214, and welcome back to Stationeers. We are playing our Venus Brutal Start series. We have a lot to do and no time to do it. Because of the increase in temperature for the rest of the base, I did bring the oxygen bottles in here to keep them from overpressurizing and blowing up.
Caution.
While we're here, let's go ahead and eat and drink and be merry. Oh, the helmet can't go in the microwave. Alright, there we go. And let's grab a drink. Okay. So we're doing pretty good. I did bring a packager in here. I made a couple of cans, and that way we can start making some better, higher quality food. So let me just go ahead and cook up some tomatoes here real quick. And this takes forever doing this with a microwave, unfortunately. Oh, pose. Oof, that is painful. Alright, so when using a basic packaging machine, all items go in the top, including the cans, even though it looks like you should put the can in the bottom. That is not the case. So we have 5 cooked tomatoes, 1 can, and then we need a little bit of oil. There we go. There we go. Turn that on, close your handle, and tomato soup is being processed. Lift up the handle, and we now have some tomato soup. So next time I am hungry, this will give us more nutrition value, as represented by the stars down in the bottom right under vitals. You can see that if I take a little bit of a sample of that, we now have 3 stars, and that means instead of 100% thirst, when we drink, we will go to 125%, which means that we can drink less, which is fantastic. Okay, let's get on out of here. Greenhouse is doing pretty good. And let's go check out the rest of the base. Okay, power is doing pretty good. It has cooled down quite nicely. Took a few days. I pretty much just stood in the cryotube to just kind of suspend my hunger and thirst. Still angry about the shutter incident. I knew that was going to happen, and yet, well, don't play when you're sleepy. That's all I can say. The pressure differential between the outside and the inside when it was a vacuum was too much for the windows, and that's why they broke. The game does not detect that it has the reinforced windows on the outside, so it doesn't realize that it's actually protected instead of being open to the elements, I guess. Okay, so we need to make water. We are down to like 5 liters of water in the greenhouse, and that's no good. Now I do want to get rid of the nitrous oxide that's in this line as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and toss this filter in here. Boop. And that should slowly get rid of the nitrous in there. Which it is. Which is perfect. We have nitrous on that side. And it's going down from there. Excellent. Okay, so it is water making time. So what I want to do is somehow squeeze in here. I don't want that at 5k, I want it down to more like 2k. Yeah. Alright. 2k will work, we'll put that guy in here, and now when I turn on the Stirling generator, I should be able to make some power. It's 895 degrees C in here. So you're running, you're making about 5 kilowatts. Obviously the hotter that gets, the more efficient it will be. Alright, and that is cooling it down, which is fantastic. But it's heating up the room. Oh, it's quite dark in here. Run away! I guess my suit light finally ran out. There we go. Speaking of batteries, how's my other one? What did I do with that other nuclear battery? I don't remember what I did with it. I thought I had 3 of them, but apparently I only know where 2 of them are. Figured it would be in there, but it's not. Yeah, well, I'm sure it'll turn up somewhere. At least I didn't put it in the laptop. That would have been like the worst place to put it. Alright. Moving on. So I am gonna need this guy. I'm gonna need some heavy cables. Gonna go ahead and get some gold. I'm gonna need some of that. Oop, there it is, gold. Some more gold. All right. Alright, that is really dark, so let me take that out, reset that. Perfect. Now we can see again. Okay, so that's good. We have that guy running. We need to get the water going. So let's go ahead and turn on the combustor. There we go. How are we looking in here? Doing good. That's heating up, which is going to heat up the water up there. So we're basically starting off with half a liter of water. So it's going to heat up and then start the cooling process. Excellent. That means that we're adding gas to here, which we are. And this being filtered out. Perfect. Alright, so one of the things I need to do is I need to run this pink pipe up over here and connect it into the khaki pipe so that we have a way of removing excess gas from the hot system into the cold system so that it can run into the filtration units. Okay, had to kick out the co-host. She was trying to make an appearance. Alright, so I actually forgot about this occupancy sensor, and we already have one up there, so we don't need that guy. We grab some pipage. No, stop. Damn it, I did not need that many cables. That's fine, that's fine. Okay, so I've got a few more pipes and a pump, and so what I want to do is just run that pink guy straight over here. So let's go grab a pink pipe. Here we go. Make all those pink. And we need to get to about right here. Yep. Alright, we're gonna have to go down.
Air tank low.
A little bit of ugly pipage. One more, there we go. Grab a khaki. Onto there, there. That was not at all what I wanted to do. Fantastic. Well, I guess it's only 304C. I guess it didn't actually hook up or something? I don't know. Not a problem. Okay, so we want this pointed down so that we could see it, and then we're gonna wanna grab some cables. I just grab from there. Should leave one behind, it did. Let's put you back. Grab you. We're just gonna go straight up. And then across. And there we go. Okay, so now we have a way of getting gases into the cold. Once it's been cooled down a little bit by this guy, hopefully. Yeah. How are we doing in water? You're really hot. You're pretty hot. We've lost a little bit of liquid, but I think it's just because it's become steam. That's okay. We're still doing good on fuel. Water is being made. Yep. Okay. Going good, going good. Alright, so now I want the Stirling generator to turn on when the room is cool enough. So I don't want it to run all the time. The room's got to be cold enough to absorb the heat. But we also only want it to turn on when the tank is hot enough for it to make sense. So let's use our chip for the housing here and see what we can do. Go ahead and clear off that. Okay, so obviously we're going to need to know what our tank is. We'll need the engine and
air tank critical.
the room sensor. Don't take a picture. What's wrong with you? Air tank critical, and that is in the other room. Fantastic. Come here, air tanks. You can go there. While I'm here, I guess I'll go ahead and take a drink. We'll enjoy some more canned soup, which will last quite a while, which is fantastic. Whee! Alright, we're back. Okay, I think that's all the things that we need. So let's do the usual loop thing. Load into R0 from the tank. We want the temperature. We're going to set greater than. If R0 is greater than... Typically stops working around 300 C. So we'll go with 573.15, which should be 300 C. And then we're going to look at the room temperature. If this is less than, oops, that's R1, 45C, which should be 318.15. Now if both of those are true, then we can turn the engine on. R1. And then go back to the start. I think that's all that we need to do for that one. Could put a check in there that if it's maybe getting too hot or too much pressure, I don't even know if that's a thing, then we can just like turn it off. We can do that later. Alright, export you, put you here, so we are going to need to first wire up this housing, apparently. I don't know how I didn't wire it up the first time, but okay. Alright, you. There we go. Now you work. Flashing an error. Okay, so you should be the hot tank. Did I ever wire that up? I didn't. Okay. Let's wire this guy up too. Who did the wiring in this place? My goodness. Just a bunch of incomplete wiring. Okay, so you should be hot water tank if I'm not mistaken. Not hot water, but hot waste tank. There we go. You are the Stirling engine. And then the room sensor. Perfect. Hot waste tank, Stirling engine, room sensor. I never told the engine to come on. Oh man. This is how this is gonna go today, huh? Okay. This is how this is gonna go today. I see how it is. Okay, so conditions have been met. You can turn on. I don't want you to turn on currently. And the reason for that is because this room will heat up. The base will get too hot. Hello, dog. Anyway, like I was saying, I don't want to do that right now because the room would heat up. The ACs are trying to cool down the water, so the coolant right now is pretty much being used on that. It's at 5 degrees right now, which is pretty good actually. Probably could afford to have it running, but yeah, it's okay. Alright, now we do have some pretty hot, not pretty hot, but it is fairly warm oxygen in there. And once we get all the oxygen filtering from this quote-unquote cold waste tank, which is at 304 degrees, it's gonna be a little warm. So we're gonna need to start cooling that guy down. Now, why did all this move around? I'm gonna have to just throw everything on the ground and be done with it. There we go. Alright. Put our gases back in there. $85 degrees, huh? That's a little warm, but it'll cool back down. So you're doing okay, you're good. Alright, so I need to go make some chips. I need 4 of them for the different filtration machines, and then we'll get to coding some filtration. Okay, we have all 4 of our chips that we need for each of our filtration units. So let's go ahead and make a program to control these guys. Let's see here. What do we need on here? We're gonna need the filter. We're gonna need the pump. And we'll need the tank. I think that's all we'll need. So we'll put the filter as DB because that's going to be our housing. We'll alias the volume pump to D0, and we'll alias the tank to D1. So we only get 2 pins. We're going to define the digital valve for the coolant. Should have just typed in digital. Alright, so our digital valve. And I'm gonna want the coolant analyzer. There we go. I don't think there's anything else that we need. Normal loop stuff. Alright, so let's load into the filter, or load into R0 from the filter. We're going to check out the ratio of oxygen on input. Yep. If it's greater than... let's say 5%? Sure, we can start with that. If it's greater than 5%, then we're going to want to turn it on. But we don't want to turn it on if it's super low pressure, because then we're just using up our filters for no reason. So let's also check from the pressure on the input. We'll set that greater than, let's just go with a megapascal. And then both of those are true. Then we can set the volume pump on. Yep. And then also the filter's mode to R0. Yeah, we don't want to switch the filter on or off because then our code will stop running. So we got to switch with mode. Some kind of overflow for the pressure would be handy, but I might just do back pressure regulator for that. We don't have them actually set up. I was planning on doing a pump, but it's not going to be going up that quickly, and back pressure regulator would probably do it, although the back pressure regulator would use more power than the pump because I can just cycle the pump on and off. It's a kind of a trade-off, I guess. Yeah. We'll deal with that later. Alright, so let's load into R0 the tank and the temperature so we can start cooling this gas down. If that is greater than... let's go with like 20C. Uh, 293.15. Then we'll load in from the analyzer, which we have to batch name. The hash, and I believe that's called coolant analyzer. And we want the temperature and the maximum. So then if that is less than... that's R1, R1. I think for now I will do this at basically 0C. Change to higher number when ready. I'll explain that in a second. So then if we add both of those together, and then we have to save to the coolant valve. The hash, and I believe I named it, should just be like O2 cool valve. I did not name it. So you are O2 cool valve. Into cool valve. Okay. CO2 cool valve. And
Warning,
cool
storm incoming.
Well then, thank you, game. I like power. Okay, so you are O2 cool of Valve. So as long as it can find that on the network, then it will be good to go. And then we just feed it on and R0. Okay, so right now I'm wanting the ACs to work on primarily getting water instead of base cooling and trying to cool down all these gases. So by having this at a really low number, it means that they won't actually try and cool the gases until I'm ready to do so, and then I can just come in here and up this number to like 40C or something. Whatever strikes my fancy at that time. And then we just head back to the start. I believe that is all we need to do, so we just want to check that if there's enough stuff in there to actually filter, then we go ahead and do that, and then if it's hot, then we go ahead and cool it down. And possibly add an overflow. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard. Could just load into the R0 from the tank, and we check the pressure. We set it greater than, say, if the pressure is greater than, like, we don't want the pipes to be singing, so we could just say 38,000, which is 38 megapascals. Comment out that line too. Comment out this line. And then all we would have to do would just be set batch name, pump. Give it the hash of like O2 overflow. And then sell it on R0. Yeah, I mean, that would take care of it. Super simple. Sweet and simple. Alright, well. Let's grab this guy. Put you in there. Put you in there. Now I don't want to turn this on just yet. Okay, O2 pump is what I named you. I think you're supposed to be the tank first. So you are O2 tank.
Waste tank caution.
Screw you, waste tank. Don't need you right now. And the pump. Now if we turn that on. Line 14. What is line 14? Set volume pump on R0. Oh, I had them backwards. That is fantastic. Okay, let's try that one more time then. So you are the O2 pump, and then you are the O2 tank. There we go. Now you are gonna go at a blazing speed of 2 moles per tick. Yep, you are doing so. Going up in temperature then faster than it is in the actual moles. Fantastic. Alright, well, I'm gonna turn you off for a minute. Okay, so then I just basically need to copy the same code into each of these machines, but we do have to modify it slightly because here we don't want to be checking for oxygen anymore. We want to be checking for nitrogen on the input. And then down here, we want to set that to the nitrogen coolant valve. I think that's all we need. If I export you, put you there. So you are the nitrogen tank. Sorry, the pump. Almost made the same mistake again. And you are the nitrogen somewhere. Pump tank. Okay, no errors there. Good. We'll check. Yeah, no errors there. Okay, and then same thing for the CO2. So here we want the ratio of carbon dioxide on the input. And down here, CO2 cool valve. Confirm you export. So we want the CO2 cool valve. Nope. I want the CO2 pump. There it is. And CO2 tank. You're good, you're good. Alright, stop using my power. Thank you. Alright, and then finally, we need the pollutant one. So you are pollutant, and then you are X. Yep. Okay.
Hydration
Put
critical.
that there. Screwdriver. So we want the X pump. Let's go backwards. X pump. X tank. Okay, you're good. That's the wrong thing. Okay, so when dealing with pollutant, we'll just say the pollutant is over 2% and there's more than 1 megapascal, then we would just go ahead and filter that out. Oops, let's update that label so we know what we're doing. There we go. I mean, CO2 is going to be higher. So grab you, import you, put you there, put you here, and then if we say if our carbon dioxide is greater than 30%, that way we always have a little bit in the pipe. If we have a little bit in the pipe, then we'll actually have some pressure in there. Nitrogen, we can say as long as that there is more than, say, like 15%. Ew. Import you. I almost screwed that up. Alright, if I change that to, let's go 15%. 15%. Confirm, export you. Let's grab that carbon dioxide one again, just make sure I updated the tag. Import you. I did not. Okay. How are we looking? Space is a little bit warm. We have fuel. We have a combustor that is idle. And you're idle because that is too much pressure. So it makes some and then it waits. Which is fine, because if it's making it really slow, that's some hot water. If it's making it really slowly, then we have more time to cool. So the ACs are actually cooling it down instead of the outside temperature. Which is not bad. But basically everything has become steam. Which is a little unfortunate, but that's okay. We figured that would happen. Fuel mix is still a little oxygen rich. Which is sad. I'm hoping that once the mixer kicks on that should start to update. I guess we'll find out soon enough. Okay, so that water is being cooled down to a point where it condenses. It's getting sucked up by the condenser condensation valves into the tank. Where it's then immediately evaporating and becoming steam. Because of course it is. And then that guy out there is not on. Because it's still too hot. Alright. I thought I truncated the time. I guess not. That'd be something to do. Okay, so if I take this guy, next weather event time. If I trunk into that from that. So that should now, next time, just display the whole number instead of a decimal. To be a little nicer to read. Okay, now I think all of these guys are ready to go. You guys are at 15,000, that's fine. How are we doing up here? We are a little warm. We turn all of this on. Okay. Pollutant, there's not really enough in there to be bothered with, so it's not running. We're getting rid of our CO2. And the nitrogen. Yep. Man, that is abysmally slow. Pressure differential 0. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to take out this pipe section here on each of these, and I'm going to put in a volume pump to hopefully speed that up. That'll practically double it, maybe get like 4 or 5 moles, which is fine. Don't need this thing to be super quick. Our coolant is now pretty warm because we're cooling down the water. Which is why I didn't want to run the Stirling generator, because then it would dump heat into the base and then we would have no way of cooling it. Okay. So we've got 3 pumps there. There's a pump over here. Alright, so now I gotta turn that off so that we don't over-pressurize. I'm gonna put this guy... And I hope I have the right... Yes, I do. Okay, good. The wire can stick out that way. Grab you, grab you, grab you. You're a little tight, but I can just do a little corner piece. You. I need wires, so let's grab a cutter. Black one. That's great. Could come this way. Whoops. Whoops. Panicking. Okay, well, I guess we're going that way because I placed all that. Oh, that was annoying. You good? Yeah, you're good now. Whoops. Are these damaged? No. Nope. This one shouldn't be because it hasn't really done anything yet. Yay. Alright, 6 moles. Not bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna... I swear.
Hunger
Great.
critical.
Now it's damaged. Nothing happened. I don't know what you're talking about. See? It's perfectly fine. No damage. Yeah. Okay. $318 moles, 320. Guess that's not too bad. How are we doing in the hot pipe? 11.8 megapascals. It's quite a bit. How are we doing on fuel? Okay. Fuel ratio has worked itself out a little bit better, and probably next time it turns on it'll be even better. So that seems to be working. Got plenty of volatiles. We don't have a lot of O2. But I mean, for that we just have to expand the greenhouse. That's nothing special. But that is some really hot oxygen. That is unfortunate. Nitrogen is super warm too. Okay, so what do you... You're saying that you don't need any more, but you need that. Obviously you're gonna want oxygen out here. But I think that we could turn on the nitrogen one just to start processing that. We could turn on the CO2 as well in each of these rooms. I mean, why not? Get the base atmospheric starting to work. Yeah. We obviously don't have enough nitrogen to really do anything with. We're not collecting it from anywhere. But that should be increasing. So ideally I would have to set up some kind of a harvesting thing. Maybe not over here because I'm still debating putting the spaghetti monster there. But some kind of gas harvester maybe over here. Connected to outside. Could be nice to bring in just CO2 and nitrogen. Put that into here. Or I could put some kind of a harvester over here and just have it suck in directly from there, put the nitrogen directly into the tank. It'd be warm. But what isn't? It says Venus after all, everything is hot. Not too bad, not too bad. Now this also means that I could swap over.
Health critical.
We could swap over the CO2 in the greenhouse. So while we're in here, we can work on that. Nice. Okay, we got a little bit more water than I thought we did. 2 more drinks worth anyway. Go ahead and eat a little more tomato soup. Our soup is lasting a lot longer than before. But now if we turn these on, what is that going to do to our room temperature here?
Health low.
So you are going down. What are we trying to achieve? So in our greenhouse, we are trying to achieve 60% nitrogen and 10% CO2. Well, the O2 is not being handled because that's just being converted by the CO2. Converted from CO2 by the plants, I should say. Okay, so that's not terrible. Just want to make sure that it's not going to overheat in here. So that is going down. The closer it gets to 10%, the closer that's going to get. And when we reach 10%, then it's just going to turn off. Which is fantastic. Now we don't have enough nitrogen to get to the 60%. So yeah, that's just going to take forever. Now the soybeans are going to be using some of that as well, so we have to kind of keep an eye on that. But for the moment, it is increasing. The AC does appear to be able to keep up with it. So long as the CO2 stays in a small amount, then it should be fine. The AC should be able to keep up with it, no problem. Which means that I could get rid of you. Could move you over here. And then all of that could just be more garden. I think I'll leave that there for the moment, though. Just to be sure. I think we're on the right track. Oh yeah, look at that. Our fuel's almost perfect now. I mean, obviously we have pollutants in here still, so it's never going to be perfect until that's removed. But that is a lot better. Sweet. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the combustor. We've made a bunch of water. Probably only about like 3 liters, I would imagine. It's not much. That thing is slow. And then we're going to let the ACs just kind of chew on water for a while. So it should get nice and cold. It's going to condense everything out of this pipe until it gets down to the Armstrong limit where it can't condense anymore. And then we'll see what we end up with liquid-wise. 202. That is freaking hot. So there's nothing there. Yep, and then you're just gonna condense down, get it collected there. Then you're not on yet. No, you're not. But that's perfectly fine. Alright, so we've not collected any X yet. Not a whole lot to collect. You're not on, which is why we're not collecting any. Because we're over 2% and we have more than a megapascal, so it should be able to get a little bit in there. This is what I thought I had set you up as. Give me that and port you. I did not. Apparently I didn't export it. Okay, let's try that again. Wires in the way. Well, we'll just switch that guy off. What are you set to? Why are you only set to that? Boop. Now will you work? Yay! So all of this stuff running is about 2 megawatts? 2,000 watts. I mean, I guess that's not too bad. Okay. So that looks about all we're gonna get out of the water pipe. It's just pretty much vapors in there now. And what are we left with? So we've got about 500 moles or so of steam to condense down back into liquid. As that condenses, it's releasing heat into the steam, and that's obviously got to be cooled down. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it's open out there. That is great. Our coolant is a nice 100 degrees C, which will go down as the water temperature drops. Then we can get the base cooled off again. It's getting a little toasty in here with all these items running. Alright, our filters are about to shut off here pretty soon. We did get quite a bit of CO2. I'm kind of happy with that. Very little nitrogen, but we're just kind of trying to dump that back out here into the base to get the nitrogen level up to like 60%, which it's gonna just not do right now. We did capture a little bit of pollutant, which we can use for phase change cooling and various things like that at a later time. If I was to continue this base, we could do that. So yeah, how much oxygen did we end up with? Practically doubled our oxygen. Okay. Not too shabby, we've just been storing it. So the greenhouse is replenishing this because every time the plants convert CO2 into oxygen and the pressure increases because we're dumping more CO2 into the room, it's coming into here. So the temperature of this system should over time cool itself down. Obviously, as we cool down these tanks to a livable temperature or a workable temperature, once the coolant gets back down there and the base is nice and cool, then all these gases will start to circulate. So this system should really never be as hot as it is now until we dump more hot gas into it. But ideally we would not run this until these gases are nice and cool. We have a little bit of water to play with, then we turn this guy on, cool that down, pump that into here, and so on and so forth. So at this point it's really just a waiting game for the ACs to actually do what they're supposed to do. Might even add a third one in over here in the corner to help out with that. But I think that's probably going to do it for this playthrough. I mean, there's really not a whole lot to do. It would just be like adding another gas harvester to here to harvest some nitrogen, CO2. We don't need a harvest from outside because we're doing that from here through the combustion process. Once it's cold enough, then we can use it, and it'll wind up in there. So yeah, I think the last thing to do would just be to try and put the shutters back on here again, because that went really well last time. But with the Venus atmosphere pressure the way that it is, and as long as the base is over like 38 kPa, then we can put on the shutters without them imploding. So let's go ahead and do that. Maybe we can do it before the sun comes up. Alright, so some shutters. I'm gonna need some more cables, plastic sheets, some glass sheets. Be right back. base is too hot, so now the safety airlocks have gone ahead and closed. It's a little unfortunate. But that's the way they're designed, so now I have to go through airlocks. But anyway, let's get these shutters made up. So we need to cable them. There we go. Hide the wires behind some plastic casing. Here we go. And then I can just close these up with some glass. One more. There we go. Alright, now we can go ahead and shut those. Perfect. So each one of these windows would add a little bit of heat into the room because of the sunlight, so by using the shutters that is prevented, which is what we wanted to do. Now while I'm not in the room, let's grab the room atmosphere. Since this also deals with cooling, you can just add it on here. So do we have the occupancy sensor? We do not, but we can define it. Define O sensor. Occupancy. Load batch name into R0 from the O sensor hash occupancy sensor. And I think we have to take activate. If somebody's in the room, then it activates. Quantity would give us the quantity of people in the room. The activate means that there is someone in the room. So we'll take the activate, we'll take the maximum. And then I want that to be opposite. So if I am in the room, then it's a 1. Okay, so yeah, if I am in the room, then I want it to be opposite. So, oh, the 1 would become 0. So if I'm in the room, then I want the shutters to be open. If I'm out of the room, then they should be closed, because they're not in here, and we don't need to see outside. So, yeah, set equal to 0, and then set, I guess we need the shutter. Window controller, open. So we'll grab that guy. Define shutter to you. We could just use a set batch for this one. So shutter, since there's only one of them. Open and R0. There we go. Okay, I'm in the room and it's not doing what it needs to do, so I think I used the wrong one. Or I just didn't export it, I'm not sure. There we go. I'm in the room, shutters. I'm out of the room, shutters close. Perfect. That's what I want to see. I had to use set not equal to 0 instead.
Hydration critical.
Alright. So how is our water? Got about 8 liters in the tank, which is good. Plus we're gonna have a bunch in the pipe network. It's another like 2 liters. So yeah, we started off with like a half a liter of water, and now we're up to about almost 10. And there's still a little bit that's got to be condensed down. That's fantastic. Alright. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and call the series here. It's been fantastic. My last few videos have not really done well. So I don't know that I will do another playthrough type video series. I do plan on doing some other videos like the quick tutorials that I did for like the solar panels and stuff like that. I'll do like quick introductions to filter machines and ACs and things like that. Little 5-minute tutorials. Help people out that way. But let's take a tour of the base. So eventually I was going to put some, maybe some solar panels up here. We have a little bit of wind. I do like the service tunnels. We kind of crammed them full of crap, so I didn't really make it a tunnel per se. I just didn't bother moving this kind of stuff from the early game. This coolant valve is actually on the wrong pipe. If this was filled with like the greenhouse room, then it would actually freeze on this side. It should actually be on the purple pipe. So that's my bad. I made a mistake there. But yeah, that's all looking pretty good. Trader guy, we haven't really done much with him since we got established. Mainly we just used him for water. Our solar panels are doing pretty good. They're a little damaged from the last storm though. And we have our deep miner, which has been chugging along with the 2 centrifuges. Our core mountain out here is absolutely Swiss cheese. From the top to the bottom and pretty much all the way around it. It has given us everything that we needed. And yeah. Ideally, this would have been a little temporary starting base, and then we would have mined into that and made the actual base. But that's where we're at. Arc furnace just stands here as a beacon to the early days. We don't really need him there for emergencies, I suppose. Safety airlocks have done pretty good, except when there's a vacuum on one side, they don't work so good. They like to turn on the 2 vents and contaminate the rooms, which is a little bit annoying, but there's not a whole lot of code room. Not a lot of room lines left in the IC to be able to do that, to fix it really, so just kind of left it where it was. Our furnace did pretty good. I kind of like this layout. The dark walls was definitely a nice thing. Never really did anything with the LED. Eventually, or I would have put the either pink or blue on there, or green, maybe yellow, to say, hey, I'm ready, or no, I'm not ready, or which tank is not ready. Like if the hot tank was too low in pressure or too cold, then we could, you know, be like, hey, that's too cold. Anyway, we had some problems with the T-pipe there for some reason, but ever since I just left the furnace on, I have not had any problems with that. These 2 are still set to the furnace room. I never did repressurize it, but that's okay. Vending machine here has been nice, just to kind of capture all that stuff that our deep drills getting, since our storage is kind of full. Factory is set up. A little disappointed I didn't get the distribution system set up, but that's okay. Alright, so running into the greenhouse. This is doing pretty good. We're keeping up with our plant's demand, it looks like. Still want more nitrogen. Yeah, nice 10% in here. Spaghetti Monster is still my favorite thing. The way that this came out, it just looks pretty cool. I'd hate to be the interplanetary AC repairman that has to come and deal with that mess, though. Yeah, ideally, making food in the microwave is a pain when you're making like tomato soup and stuff. So I would set up a automated furnace and an oven packager here to deal with that. Because yeah, I'm not gonna do that by hand forever. This guy looks like it's pretty much ready to get torn out of here. We'd move the cryo tube over here, hook that up to the room atmosphere, and then just expand this out to get some more ferns planted to get more oxygen. So that's kind of what's holding us up for getting the base pressurized and going. But I think at this point it's really just a waiting game. It's waiting for things to cool down, waiting for things to get processed. But anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed it. It's been quite a whirlwind adventure for me. Learning all this stuff, going through multiple programs of recording and figuring all that stuff out. I appreciate you guys being here along for that ride. Until next time, I will catch you all later. Thanks for joining me, everybody.